after you finish your speech, no matter how bad this speech is, someone will always come up to you and say, good speech. Way too far. Some people will come up to you and say, wow, what an amazing speech, man, mind blowing. You and all, different level only. These people have a natural tendency of being extravagant. But these are the people who get along very well with everyone. These are the people who can casually put a hand over your shoulder and say, hi, how are you doing? But I am completely opposite of that. I am generally silent and reserved, and I absolutely cannot make small talk. When my relatives come home, relatives or guests come home, I'd be expected to talk with them and I have no idea what to tell them. They'd say the same thing to me again and again and they laugh. They look at me and say, Arjun, you've grown so tall. Watch out, you might hit the ceiling. And I'll be sitting there like, so I'd end up hating these situations. I'd wish that I was more extravagant. I wish that I was more outspoken. One day, one such extravagant friend and I were in college. And we were sitting in class, and the class hadn't started. One beautiful girl walked past us. She was my classmate, but I didn't have the guts to talk to her. This guy, he stops her and he says, "Oh, you look like a princess today." And that girl goes, I'm sitting here like, and he's so casually saying, "No, it's natural." So that day I decided that I was going to be that guy. I was going to transform myself into an extravagant, charismatic person, a hero-like person. A guy who was a combination of a Barack Obama, a Salman Khan, and a Rajinikanth, or together, Bakra. So I walked into the next Medley meeting as Bakra. And after the meeting, I just went to a random guest and I said, "Hello sir, how are you doing? How is family?" And I expected him to say, "Oh, fine, good." Then I thought I'd move on to the next person. But he actually started talking about his family and he went on. And I started the conversation and now I don't know how to get out. I felt like Abhimanyu who broke into the Chakravyuh who couldn't get out. So for 10 minutes, all I did was, oh. So attempt 1 at being a Bakra was a complete failure. Next, I saw Toastmaster Janani who had just given a prepared speech that day. And I went up to her and I said, "Fantastic speech, Janani, fantastic." She said, "Really? I thought it was okay." And I said, "No. Fantastic speech." She said, "Okay." And I realized that she knew I was not being entirely honest. And I walked away quietly before saying anything else. So attempt 2 at being a Bakra was also a complete failure. And every time I decided to be extravagant or try to be the center of attention, I felt extremely stressed out. I felt so uncomfortable that when I left Medley that day, I felt completely demotivated. But everyone keeps saying, go outside your comfort zone. Learning happens outside the comfort zone. I was very uncomfortable, so I thought, so I persevered. I continued as Bakra for a few more days, but I just kept getting more and more exhausted. One day when I was walking down the road, I saw another girl. She was one of my old school friends, and I thought, Bakra, move on. I said, "Yeah, you look like a princess today." And she said, "Hi. Is everything okay?" I didn't know what was going. I didn't know what to do. So I just told her everything. I told her that it was my dream to become a Bakra. I wanted everyone to notice me, and I wanted everyone to think that I was a charismatic, outgoing, fun-loving person. And she looked at me and said, "You're so stupid. You're Arjun. You're fine the way you are. Why do you want to be someone you're not?" All this while, I'd been thinking that I was so convinced that I needed to change who I was. I was so convinced that I needed to become someone else, that being silent was a bad thing. I was so convinced that by being Bakra, I was going outside the comfort zone. But when she said these things, I felt so happy, and I thought, okay, I'm going to discard Bakra, I'm going to be myself. The next medley meeting, I went as Arjun. And after the meeting, I saw Toastmaster Mohan and Alex, they were discussing something very seriously, and I walked up to them, and I just observed. I didn't feel the need to talk to them. And they were talking seriously about, okay, a contest, a speech, some winning formula, and how to manipulate judges' minds, and it was very interesting to observe. I was just sitting, I was just listening instead of trying to be charismatic and talk. And it was very interesting. Then I went over to Prabhakar sir and I asked him about his new product, and we talked for a while. Then I went over to the bonda section, my favorite section after the meeting, and I quietly ate bondas without feeling pressurized to find someone to talk to. Then I went over to my friends who were pulling each other's legs, and I just listened quietly, occasionally pulling a leg here and there. But I enjoyed simply listening. And at the end, Toastmaster Sunil and I went over to the parking lot, and I asked him about his area director duties next term. And I didn't have to be Bakra to talk to him. I could be myself. I could be very casual. That day, at the end of the meeting, after I went home, I felt very energized. Ladies and gentlemen, we all have a basic nature. Mine is that I am very silent, and sometimes I don't like talking. Yours could be that you are childish. Yours could be that you are very serious and strict all the time. Yours could be that you are openly honest and frank. But the thing is, we try to suppress these qualities just because we think that society thinks that they are flaws, and they are flaws which need to be extinguished. We think that that's something weird inside us, and I want to be like everyone else. But that weirdness is what makes us who we are. That weirdness is what makes us unique. The biggest challenge in this world, where everyone is trying to make you be like everyone else, is to be yourself. There is this quote I've heard, and it goes like this. It says, don't try to change yourself to make others like you, but be yourself so that the real people, the people who actually matter, will like the real you. And finally, don't be a bakara. Thank you.